Daniel Sports Central, we go over our March Madness game preview and prediction on the round of 32 matchup between Alabama and Maryland. Huge matchup for both teams coming up here in the round of 32. You got Alabama, the number one overall seed in this tournament for a reason. This team is all around a complete basketball team, but nothing is guaranteed in March Madness as they take on Maryland. The Terps coming off of a huge win over West Virginia. They are not to be underestimated as we look forward to the round of 32. We'll be going over a full game preview and prediction on this match here today, starting with your team trends. Alabama beat Texas A&M Corpus Christi 96-75, had no problems as expected in that matchup, and they proceed on. They are 30-5 heading into this matchup, also coming off of their SEC tournament win as they beat Texas A&M for the championship just before. And so, yeah, this team is going to be brutal to beat in this tournament. They will be a tough out. Maryland, on the other side, coming off of an excellent win over West Virginia. Now, West Virginia was thought of by many to take down Maryland. Maryland was an underdog in that matchup, but the Terps were able to get the win in the end, 67-65. They are 22-12 heading into the second round, and this is a team that I think is, based on the way they played against West Virginia, yeah, it was a super close game, but they can get some momentum going here. This is a Maryland team that is dangerous and could potentially pose a threat in this matchup. Games be on Saturday, March 18th in Birmingham, Alabama, and your tip-off is 9:40 p.m. Eastern. So this is pretty much a home game for the Crimson Tide, being pretty close to home in Birmingham. And the spread's going with Alabama here by 8.5, so the Crimson Tide favored by a decent amount as expected. Over-under is 142. And once again, you look at the tournament runs for Alabama, their dominant win over Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and Maryland, their win over West Virginia. Stat comparison for this one, Alabama averages 82 points a game. This is a team that is complete across the board. You look at their defense, allowing 68 points a game. Their offense averaging 82. This is arguably the most complete team in this tournament. You look at Brandon Miller, you look at this team all around. They've got tremendous talent, outstanding depth, and that's why this team is such a favorite to go deep in this tournament. Their BPI rank is 3 in comparison to Maryland, who is 20. And you look at the points from Maryland, this team is more of a stronger team defensively, allowing 63 points a game, and they average 70. So, this team offensively is also great, but defensively, I'd say is really where this team shines. You look at Jahmir Young, Julian Reese. Those are your two players that really highlight this team. Jahmir Young especially. And this is a team with a high ceiling and a bright future for sure. And they've had a great season. There's no doubt with that. Your notable games as well, Alabama beat Houston at one point by 6. They lost to Tennessee by 9. They were 1-1 against Texas A&M this season, and they swept the series between Arkansas and Auburn. So, this team has taken a couple of losses this season, but, you look at the issue and those rare losses, it's because of turnovers and it's because of foul trouble. So, this team has only taken 5 losses this season, but those losses are because of, once again, the foul trouble. And so for Alabama, got to stay out of foul trouble. And obviously preventing turnovers is key to winning games. But for Maryland, they split the series against Purdue and Indiana. Purdue just lost to FDU in the first round, a shocking loss there. But Maryland they're still alive in the tournament for now. And they, once again, split the series against Indiana. They beat Miami at one point this season by 18. That was impressive. And they also beat Northwestern by 16. Did have a loss to Michigan State, though, by 5. Your key points for this one, Alabama 30-5 overall. This team is arguably the most complete team in this tournament. If you look at many teams that are seeded highly, it's either offense or defense is the main area where they shine. And for Alabama, this team shines both offensively and defensively. It's not just one side, and that's why this team is so dangerous. They're coming off of a dominant win in round 1. They are rolling, and they are brutal to beat. That's why this team they're just going to be a tough out. It's going to take a lot to beat Alabama, and if someone's going to do it, they got to play a really solid game from start to finish. Some teams may be able to keep up in the first half, just a matter of whether or not you can close out the game in the second half. But for Maryland, this team is all around a strong, balanced team on both sides. This is also, Maryland isn't, I'd say defensively, you could say they're stronger just because they don't allow a whole lot of points. This is a team that's excellent offensively too with Jahmir Young, and so this is a solid team, and they're one of the top teams in the nation in adjusted offensive and defensive efficiency. They don't turn over the ball too much, which is obviously a key factor. And I mean, that's foul trouble has also been an issue for Maryland. So I mean, foul trouble has been an issue for both teams, and we'll see whether or not either team can prevent that. But for Maryland here, the key to success here is keeping the game close. You got to hang in there. Alabama could go on a 10-0 run, and it's going to be tough to get back in it. And so for Maryland, yeah, you got to keep the game close and start quickly. And maybe in the second half, towards the end of the game, Maryland could pose as a threat here. And we've seen some insane upsets in this tournament already so far. We've seen a 15 seed over a 2 seed Princeton. We've seen FDU over Purdue. Anything can happen in this tournament. That is, I mean, if anything we've learned so far in this tournament, it's exactly that. It's that anything can happen. And that said, let's get the prediction for Alabama and Maryland coming up here in the round of 32. In the end, I do have to go with the favorite in this matchup. I'm going Alabama 77-67. Alabama is just too complete of a team, I think, for them to lose in this one. I think Maryland, they're going to hang in there for the first half, I think. But I think in the second half, Alabama does pull away, and they get the win by 10 or so. I'm going 77-67 in this one. So I'll say Alabama 60%. Over-under's 142. I'm taking the over and Alabama to cover the spread in the end. I like the Crimson Tide too much. This is a team that I see going deep in this tournament. And even though they could potentially lose at some point in this tournament, I just don't think it's in this round. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this matchup. And I appreciate you guys watching as always. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. Catch you on the next one.